Just finishing loading up the car, off to Dryandra Woodland to find some dark skies for astrophotography. All the telescope gear and mount and everything is in there. Just loaded up some food and bits and pieces. It's about 2 hours drive out there. So where am I off to? Heading southeast to Dryandra Woodland village for a few nights of dark skies to do some astrophotography, and if my luck is, in wildlife photography as well. It's about 170 kilometres southeast of Perth, and it takes me about 2 hours to get there. The fastest route is down the Albany Highway almost to Williams, and then backtrack a bit from there. I'm going to go via the Brookton Highway to Brookton, a bit longer but more scenic. I'll get some lunch at Brookton or Pingelly and head over to Dryandra from there. The village is an old timber town located in the remnants of the dry eucalyptus forest, left over from the exploitation of the tree bark for tannin and clearing for farmland. The total area of remnant forest is about 28,000 hectares, or a bit over 100 square miles in the old numbers. It's home to some rare fauna such as the Numbat, Western Australia's fauna emblem, which can only be found here and at Perth, a few hundred kilometres to the south. I'll be staying at Wandoo Cottage, one of the bigger ones. I normally stay at Magpie, right at the northern end of all the cottages. Wandoo is much larger than Magpie, which is only one cosy room and pretty much the favourite of all the cottages. Just in Pingelly getting some lunch. I did go to Brookton, but the cafe, Roadhouse in Brookton is chockers. So we came to the Six Seasons cafe here, down there where the balloons are. A lot of these wheatbelt towns have some pretty impressive buildings. Used to be a lot busier 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. Lunch having been had, I proceeded to Dryandra village and my allocated cottage, Wandoo. Okay, so this is Wandoo hut. For those curious about the name, Wandoo is one of the types of trees that grows around here. Most of the others are named after animals. We normally stay in one of the small huts way down there. There's two right down that end, Mallee Hen and Magpie, which are much smaller than this. We've got this outdoor area here. Can I get past all right? Just had to interrupt the video. Got some other people coming in. I was worried they couldn't get past me. Anyway, here we are. So it's a shower and toilet indoors here. Sort of sitting area, well, kitchen, basic kitchen here, fridge. These have got like a wood fire from the history of that, you know, from the house, but you can't use them, especially this time of year. In this place, got plenty of beds, 4 beds there. And here we've got 4 beds and sort of like a lounge area here. And front Magpie here. This is the area you can set up telescopes. It's very large. Some of the other huts down there. The place I normally stay is down there. And I don't know if you can see with me whizzing the camera around over there, in the shadow of that tree, there's a kangaroo. Tonight there will probably be dozens, if not hundreds, of kangaroos on this grassed area. Okay, let's get unloaded and yeah. I unpacked the car and sorted all the gear out. Food, bedding, tech and Astro. Had some afternoon tea and started to plan for the night. There is no mobile phone coverage or internet here, so you can't catch up on your social media or gaming experience. Just chill and think. Okay, just having a bit of a snack and a drink. Having to do this on my phone because GoPro broke. Oh. So sitting here, I'll just have a bit of a sit down and then I'll work out where to set the telescope up. Plan for tonight is the Helix Nebula, NGC 7293, I think, which is very high up at the moment. Weather looks good out there so far, but we're sort of on the verges of the southern weather zone here, so it could conceivably change. I don't know. Anyway, refreshment, snack, work it out. I don't know what the audio is going to be like on this. Let's start to get the scope set up for tonight. Using little, going to use the Issy Bernie 80mm refractor and get it pre-set up. Save work later in the evening. All done. While all this industry was going on, the locals do what the locals do best, chill out. As the afternoon wears on, more kangaroos start arriving. More kangaroos coming in for the evening. No one coming through. Wait for it. Wait for it. And the numbers have slowly been building up. Said normally at night there's hundreds here. Don't know if you can see, but there's some over there. In the shadow of that tree there's some over there. And under those branches there, can't see around them, there's some over there. Be a lot more yet. If you're interested in seeing kangaroos without putting in a lot of effort, then this is certainly a place to do it. As the sun sets slowly in the west and more kangaroos gather, it's time to set up the equipment for the evening session. Meanwhile, 50 metres away at the cottage, a minor disaster. I'm just cooking dinner and power's gone off. It doesn't matter for the Astro because that's all battery powered, but yeah, it's going to be a bit inconvenient. Wonder if the hot water system works with no power. All there is left to do is munch my sausage sandwich and wait until darkness proper. Then it's time to do the telescope thing. I was getting a bit concerned with the amount of noise the preview images were showing in SharpCap. It had recommended 433 second subs, which I'd never do at home because of the light pollution. It turns out I was worried over nothing. Stacking and processing just about removed the noise and the amp glow. Yeah, I'm still learning. I'm not used to these dark skies. The next morning was time for an early morning walk and then some processing of the previous night's data. Doing some image processing on the old gaming laptop, which has got plenty of processing power to do this, and I've stuck a second drive in it, so it's got a lot of drive capacity as well. Using the USB monitor that I use on the data gathering as a second monitor, and yes, I have a keyboard hooked up because the keyboard on this laptop has had the port. Doesn't work. Well, it's not reliable. Anyway, I stacked the dual band images, but I can't get good contrast on it. I'll see how I go with this, which is just the infrared filter data. Processing done, I treated myself to a walk and then lunch and a bit of shopping in Narrogin. Don't have a selfie stick taken to Europe with the missus. When you're walking or driving in Dryandra, it's worth keeping your eyes peeled. You might just see some of the rare fauna. We just found a Numbat. I did not expect one to be sitting right by the side of the road. I didn't set the telescope up tonight. It looks like it's going to be clouded. There is predicted to be a break at about 9 o'clock tonight. I'll stick my head out and see, but no imaging tonight. More walking and communing with nature the next day while I waited to see what the weather would bring. Okay, heading off on the Ochre Walk Trail. Get some exercise instead of hanging around the shack all day. 5 kilometres. Let's see how we go, see if we see any wildlife. Up one of the ironstone ridges that are common in this eastern section of the Darling Range. I was going to include more of the walk, but the footage is too jiggly from me walking. Might have to invest in a gimbal if I'm going to do more of this. Bit of a clearer shot of some of the surrounding farmland. Down a steep bit. Oops. If anybody's watching this and is a WRC or World Rally Championship fan, yes, back in the days when the WRC was held in Western Australia, this is the round rolly gravel that used to amuse the drivers so much. It is as slippery as anything to drive on or to walk on. It's sort of even relatively locally famous. I live fairly near a suburb called Rollystone because the stones are very rolly. If you see him there, killer lizard. Real giant, eh? How you going, big boy? There are these interpretive signs on the way around. It looks like they're done at one of the local schools. They're really quite useful. This is a, what is it? Wilgie pit, ochre pit. Be brown ochre, I don't think it's the red stuff. I wonder if people still come here and get it. Interesting. Here is another one of the interpretive signs. You see the use of the word Nyungar. It says, the Nyungar word is Mangard. Nyungar is the local Aboriginal people. Because there is not one Aboriginal language, not one Aboriginal culture. It's a very diverse people, very diverse cultures, and so the local people who live in this area and for the surrounding few thousand kilometres are the Nyungar people. I know further north, once you start to get up to Geraldton, that way is the Wodjiri people. And being a typical white person, most of the others I do not know. Here we are, nearly back. That's my 5 kilometres morning exercise done. Back to the house for a cup of tea and a couple of coconut biscuits. Unfortunately didn't see any wildlife, but if you don't look you don't see anything. A few more people out in the trail. Might be another 3 cars here now. Hope they have a bit more luck with the wildlife than I did. Alright, Tuesday evening. Clouds seem to have blown off, but if you look at the hill over there, there's a bit of smoke haze on it, but not enough to be a big problem. So if this wind drops a bit, I will go ahead tonight. I'm going to try an experiment. I've set up, I'm going to try an experiment. I've set up just off the back of the house here. There's a barbecue there. That's the house here. Set up just off the back of the house here. I think I can see enough south over the trees there to get a polar alignment, but it's quite windy tonight, and I don't want to sit out in the wind. This is less exposed and less likelihood for vibration on the mount. So we'll see how we go. The wind's died off a fair bit, still a bit windy. I've decided to have a bit of a crack at the Trifid Nebula. Might just do an hour or so on this because it's sort of setting at the moment. It's still pretty high in the sky. And then see how I feel, and I might swap over and put the F4 Quattro on and, oh pardon me, have another look at it, NGC 7293 with the reflector. But the trouble is I didn't set the mount up with the peer extension, so I'll have to wait until it's a bit past the meridian to avoid clobbering the mount with the scope body, or stop being lazy and just put the peer extension on. Wednesday morning, it's overcast, but doesn't really matter because it's time to pack up and go home. Been a good trip, got 2 decent nights out of it. I'll process the images and we'll have a look. Okay, so that's everything out of the house, all the Astro gear, etc, etc. Pack the car, sweep out the house and hit the road. Head up to Cubelling or Brookton or somewhere and see if I can get some breakfast. Over the speed bumps. Okay, all packed up, house swept out, 8:45 and we're on our way. Let's see if I can score some breakfast. Head home, clean the car, process photos, all that stuff, and back to working tomorrow morning. Over and out from lovely Dryandra Woodland. While I'm about it, this is the Cubelling store, and you can get food here and pick up your mail if you've got a post office box, fuel, the whole lot. So yeah, just gives you another option. And to conclude, the fruits of the weekend's labours. Not quite, some bonus footage. On a previous trip, I set out a camera to capture the stars rotating around the southern stellar pole, and I accidentally captured an aurora, which is not very common at these latitudes. So, yeah, let's have a look at that.